Hello and a big welcome inside the Eagles Sports Network. I'm Cody Wagner here alongside Aiden Buchanan, ready to bring you this JV action between the Eagles and VASJ. Score is tied 3-3 early in this first set. This at the JV level. Eagles now go up 4-3. Varsity to come after this. It'll be me and Aiden also for that action later here tonight on the Eagles Sports Network. Back to serve now for the Eagles is Joshua Thomas. He'll send it over, and that'll be a point there for the Eagles. Make it 5-3, your St. Edward Eagles. Aiden, you've got a couple chances to watch this JV volleyball team play here so far this year. What are any of your keys to victory here tonight for this squad?
Very athletic squad here for the Eagles. I just think they need to work on the fundamental things. Once they get those things down packed, this will be a very good squad to look out for in the future.
You just saw a big play there from Ian Williams, the middle hitter there for the Eagles. Joshua Thomas sends a serve over, and that's an ace for Thomas. 7-3 Eagles. And you mentioned that athleticism, that a big part of this JV squad. Some of these kids haven't quite developed the volleyball skills quite yet, but they do have those athletic skills out here. You'll see players like Brian Vlasic, who's still developing those skills out on the volleyball court, and score will now be 8-3 Eagles. Once again, back to serve is Joshua Thomas. Thomas sends one over, played back row from VASJ. And that one sent up into the rafters, 9-3 now Eagles. This VASJ squad in the third year only had this program for now 3 years for this VASJ squad. So young in terms of the program, but they'll try to shock the Eagles later tonight. This JV one, however, is working very well so far for the Eagles.
Yeah, started off very close, but Eagles look to pull away with this set here.
Number 26, Joshua Thomas, once again back to serve. Josh Thomas been serving very well in this one so far.
Along with last game, he went on a, I want to say, 10 straight run at serves.
Trying to do that again here tonight. Free ball, tried to get it over from VASJ. That goes up onto the stage, and score will now be 11-3. Thomas once again back to serve for the Eagles. And this kid, Joshua Thomas, was on this JV squad last year, kind of one of these leaders for the JV team. And he'll get another ace there and make it 12-3. And there's the float serve from Aiden Thomas. Middle hit now. That played up by Vlasic. Now it was Ian Williams who led Vlasic into the net. Had no space to get it over there for the Eagles. Score will now be 12-4, your St. Edward Eagles. Thomas now checks out of the game. Coming back in is libero Daniel Beck for your St. Edward Eagles. VASJ now back to serve here. Serve now to come over, and that's a little short. Make the score 13-4 now. On the varsity level, Eagles 1-5 at the moment. They'll try to right the ship later here tonight against this young VASJ squad. Vlasic back to serve at the moment for your St. Edward Eagles. Vlasic, he'll float one over there. Outside hit from VASJ, played by Daniel Beck. Now set from Vlasic. Outside hit for the Eagles is Braylon Adams. Adams has joined me in this very booth before for some JV basketball. Set now from Vlasic. Outside hit for the Eagles. Floated it over was number 3, not on the roster, but a great hit there for the Eagles. Floating it over the blocking hands of those VASJ blockers. Make it 14-4 now, Eagles. Vlasic once again back to serve for the Eagles. He'll float one over once again. That played back row, and the coach for VASJ will take a little hit at it, and it'll be 15-4 now, Eagles. Eagles running away with this one here. Early timeout. VASJ, Coach Patty Thomas has got to be very excited about the performance thus far. For the Eagles in their last one out, 1 in 2 sets for this JV squad. It was 25-10, then 25-15, a win over St. Vincent St. Mary. Looking to keep that going here tonight against VASJ. Ultimately, the varsity dropped that game in 4 sets against St. Vincent St. Mary.
Varsity looks to get back on track after a 3-game losing streak. Looks to get back on the right track here against Villa Angela St. Joseph tonight.
Varsity, it's been 4 losses in a row. Those 4 losses were, it saw 2 over the weekend at a tournament where they had to play St. Xavier, who's a top 3 team in the state. Last week they had a loss to St. Ignatius. I was here to call that alongside Aiden Buchanan. And also this week earlier on Tuesday night, it was a loss to St. Vincent St. Mary. So they'll try to get that one back here tonight, as you mentioned, against Villa Angela St. Joseph. Back to serve now, Brian Vlasic. Vlasic, he'll send it over. Played in the front row from VASJ. Middle hit now. That play back row from the Eagles set from Vlasic. Outside hit Adams. Adams trying to roll it over the net, was unable to do so, asking for a little bit higher set from Vlasic. Nonetheless, it'll be point VASJ. Score is now 15-5. VASJ now back to serve. Service sent over short, played by Braylon Adams. Set from Daniel Beck. Played over now by Vlasic. Free ball over, played by Braylon Adams. And it was just wide there from Braylon Adams. He tried to immediately play it back over on the free ball from VASJ, but was unable to catch the line. Score is now 15-6 Eagles. That played back row from the Eagles. Now outside hit for the Eagles, just kind of thrown over. And now it'll be a back row hit from VASJ, set from Vlasic. Bad set, but Williams playing it very nice there for the Eagles. Ian Williams able to make the adjustment and get the kill there for your St. Edward Eagles.
Yeah, great tip over there from Ian Williams.
Set from Vlasic certainly wasn't ideal, but Williams was able to make the most of it and get the point for the Eagles, 16-6. Eagles remain in the lead. Back to serve now, Alonzo Ezel for the Eagles. He'll now send a serve over. Little float serve from Ezel. Now outside hit, and the set went a little too high for the outside hitter of VASJ. So that'll be point Eagles. This JV team led out by Michael McGarry for VASJ. It'll be Ezel once again back to serve for the Eagles. 17-6 rather, Eagles. And miscommunication between those VASJ players, and it will once again be Eagles point. The Vikings trying to get back on track here. Serve to come from Ezel. They're down 6-18 here against this Eagles JV squad. As I mentioned earlier, Eagles coming off a win. Defeated St. Vincent St. Mary in their last one out at the JV level. Once again, going back to serve is Alonzo Ezel. Ezel now, he'll float one over once again. And unable to control it in the back row was number 15 for the Vikings. That's Desmond Sims. Off the arms of Sims, another point for your Eagles. 20-6 now the score between the Eagles and the Vikings in this first set of action. And that hits the tape and goes over. make it 21-6 now. Eagles off the serve and ace from Alonzo Ezel.
Yeah, he looks. My prediction is Alonzo puts it away right here at this set.
Score it 21-6 at the moment. Serve now from Ezel, and unable to play it in the back row was the libero for VASJ. Score 22-6 now. We'll see if your prediction comes to fruition here from Ezel. Ezel once again back to serve. He'll float it over. That played back row from VASJ. Outside hit. They'll roll it over. Played back row Ezel. Now Vlasic. Ezel will send a free ball over for the Eagles. Now middle hit from VASJ. And they'll find the mark there. A kill from the man in the middle for VASJ. That's number 24, Ryan Jones. And he'll now go back to serve for this Viking squad. 22-7 Eagles. Serve to come from Jones. The lefty Jones sends it over. And Alonzo Ezel plays it up. Now Daniel Beck. It'll be a free ball over from Brian Vlasic. Now back row, Jones to set. And a miss hit there from number 16, DeLon Brandon from this Viking squad. Brandon disappointed with that result, and score will go to 23-7 Eagles. Brian Vlasic, younger brother of George Vlasic, who you'll get a chance to see later tonight on that varsity squad. Daniel Beck now sends a serve over for the Eagles, and it'll be a free ball over from VASJ. Now Braylon Adams outside. That'll be a little deep there from Adams. 23-8 Eagles. And really where this VASJ squad has struggled has been on the serves coming from this Eagles squad. We'll see if it's a similar tale at the varsity level later here tonight. We're still in this first set of JV action. (23-8) the score at the moment. Serve now to come. That's played over, played by Joshua Thomas, set from Brian Vlasic, and Braylon Adams went over half court. He was trying to sneak past Vlasic, and his foot just went over that half court line lackadaisically, and score will now be 23-9 Eagles. Points you can't give away there from Adams. Eagles still up by a significant margin. Now played by Vlasic outside Adams. Adams unable to roll it over. Score now 23-10. Eagles still remain in the lead. And now to play it is Joshua Thomas. Now set from Vlasic outside Adams. Adams rolls it over, and that'll be the kill for your St. Edward Eagles. Score is now 24-10 Eagles. They've got set point. I believe it will be Davion Tanwin coming in to serve for the Eagles. Aiden, we know how impressive he was last time out against St. Vincent St. Mary, especially when he was serving. We'll see what he can do here tonight. Tanwin now to serve. Scores 24-10, and there's an ace for Davion Tanwin. And the first set goes to your St. Edward Eagles.
He put that one away quick and easily.
So that's it for the first set. Eagles up 1-0. And now we will take a brief pause here on the Eagles Sports Network. Second set to come. Hello and a big welcome back here on the Eagles Sports Network. I'm Cody Wagner. I'll be joined in a second alongside Aiden Buchanan, bringing you the second set of action between your Eagles of St. Edward and the Vikings of Villa Angela St. Joseph. Second set of action to come here from the Eagles nest. Back row for the Eagles is number 7, Alonzo Ezel. He's out there alongside Daniel Beck and Davion Tanwin. Front row for the Eagles is Ethan Burke, Brian Vlasic, and Andrew Smith for your St. Edward Eagles. Now we are just about ready to go here. Eagles won the first set by a score of 25-10. That was the same score they won that first set against St. Vincent St. Mary. They'll look for a similar result here in the second set. Outside hit from Smith gets the Eagles their first point of the set. Eagles go up early in the set by a score of 1-0. Back to serve now, Davion Tanwin for your St. Edward Eagles. Tanwin sends it over, played back row from VASJ. That's sent over now, played by Daniel Beck. Now Tanwin, outside set, Smith and Vlasic had a bit of a miscommunication. Now Smith will send it over, and that was 3 touches, and it'll be the Eagles' point here. Score is now 2-0 Eagles. Now Davion Tanwin once again back to serve. That one will go into the net from Tanwin. Score is now 2-1 Eagles. And now welcome back in my partner in the booth. That's Aiden Buchanan here bringing you this action on the Eagles Sports Network. VASJ now back to serve. Vikings to send this one over. That was DeLon Brandon, and he'll come up with the ace for the Vikings. Score is now 2-2. We're all tied up here early in this second set as the Vikings try to come back after dropping the first set 25-10. Brandon to serve once again. He'll send it over, played back row, Daniel Beck. Now set from Tanwin. Outside hit from the Eagles. That's Ethan Burke. Burke gets the kill there for your St. Edward Eagles. 3-2 Eagles. Now the Eagles will check Steven Rigler into this game. Rigler will be outside hitter. Back to serve now Ethan Burke for the Eagles. And they'll send Andrew Smith to the middle to hit. I assume setting will be Davion Tanwin. Outside hitter on the left side will be Brian Vlasic. Once again, back to serve is Burke for the Eagles. 4-2 Eagles in this second set. Serve now from Burke. That played back row. And VASJ touched the net there. It was number 13 for the Vikings. That's Jaden Hamilton. That'll give the point to the Eagles. 5-2 Eagles. Serve now from Burke. He'll send it over. And went off the arms of Shane Vagnick for VASJ. Score is now 6-2. Ethan Burke doing a great job back there for the Eagles. Burke now sends it over for the Eagles. Now set from VASJ. Vikings send it over now, set from Tanwin. Outside Rigler, and now played by Tanwin. Set from Rigler, outside Vlasic. Vlasic rolls one over for the Eagles. And miscommunication for that Vikings squad. Miscommunication between Jones and Hamilton. Eagles will now go up 7-2. Eagles going on a 5-0 run here early in the second set. Once again is Ethan Burke to serve. Burke, he'll send it over. And now played from Rigler. Steven Rigler with the kill in the front row for the Eagles. Now once again, it's Ethan Burke. Burke having a heck of a game here, serving for the Eagles. Now it'll be a free ball over there from this Viking squad. Outside hit, Brian Vlasic, a great block from the Vikings. That'll win them the point. Scores 8-3. Eagles still remain in the lead. Once again now Vikings to serve. Going back now is Nathan Munford, the junior, for this Viking squad. Righty Hill put that one into the net for the Vikings. Score now 9-3 Eagles. Checking in now is Owen Murtaugh for your St. Edward Eagles. He'll come in for Daniel Beck, who checks out for the moment. Now back to serve for your St. Edward Eagles. That is Andrew Smith. Smith will float one over. Hit the net there from Smith. And now a big hit from Jones. That'll make it 9-4. Now Eagles still remain in the lead. Got to think Daniel Beck will check back into the game, and he will for Andrew Smith. Smith checking out of the game. Back row is now Ethan Burke, Daniel Beck, and Brian Vlasic. Serve now to come from the Vikings. Serve over. Played back row. Burke. Now Tanwin outside. Vlasic and Rigler had a bit of a miscommunication. I think Vlasic thought Rigler was going to hit, but the set went kind of more towards the back row, so Vlasic had to go chase it down. But nonetheless, the Eagles will go up now 10-4. Vlasic now heads back to serve. Front row is Adams, Murtaugh, and Rigler. Back row, Vlasic, Beck, and Burke. Outside hit now from the Vikings. A good hit played back row by Burke. Now played over by Braylon Adams for the Eagles. Now Jones. Jones has been getting it done throughout this one in the center for that Viking squad. The middle hitter for the Vikings now will go back to hit, rather to serve. It's Ryan Jones. Jones, the freshman. Stands at 6'2" for this VASJ squad. And running into the net there for the Eagles is Brian Vlasic. At least I thought it was Vlasic. Rather point going to the Eagles. Must have been a touch of the net from that Viking squad. Scores now 11-5 Eagles. Alonzo Ezel now back to serve. Back row is Ezel, Vlasic, and Beck. Ezel sends it over for the Eagles. Now played back row from VASJ. A nice hit played by Vlasic. Now free ball over from Murtaugh. Murtaugh trying to go up to block. A nice play there, floated over by DeLon Brandon for this Viking squad. Scores now 11-6. Eagles still in the lead. Cody Wagner here alongside Aiden Buchanan from the Eagles Nest, bringing you this JV action here on the Eagles Sports Network. Outside hit Adams. He'll roll that one into the net. 11-7 Eagles. Aiden VASJ starting to mount a little comeback here in the second set.
Yeah, they're looking very poised here to get back into this game.
Number 13, Jaden Hamilton will send it over for VASJ. Outside hit Braylon Adams. Adams, nice hit there outside for the Eagles. Now it'll be a free ball over. And now sent over by Murtaugh. Now played from Daniel Beck, set to come from Vlasic. Outside hit Ethan Burke. The kill for Burke. Score is now 12-7 Eagles. Next to come after this JV action later here tonight around 7:30. It'll be the varsity to play against this Viking squad. This Viking squad in the third year of the program. Eagles players spoke with them a little earlier today, feel very confident that they'll be able to push the record to 2-5 here tonight. Have had a rough go of it here early in this season. JV Eagles now go up 13-7. Daniel Beck will be back to serve off that ace that he just had there to put the Eagles up by 6. Beck now back once again. Beck will send it over. And now a back row hit from VASJ. Middle, it'll be Smith. Andrew Smith sends it just long. Just needed a little more topspin to spin that one down into the court. Was unable to do so and sent that one just long. Score is now 13-8. Eagles still in the lead. Serve sent over, played back row from Burke. Now outside Adams. And it'll be VASJ point. Adams put that one in the net.
Yeah, Adams just has to work on the mechanical things, you know. Very athletic. He knows how to get it done. He just has to get it done.
Certainly. You see some of those bigger hits from him. It just seems like at times doesn't have that confidence to really go for it. But you've seen some flashes of brilliance from Adams throughout this season. Just got to get more consistent at it. And I'm sure by this time next year he'll be far better than he is right now. Braylon Adams has a bright future for this Eagles volleyball team.
Yeah, and that just all comes with experience. Being a first-year player, he'll be able to get the job done next year and will be a big part of the Eagles program in the future.
Andrew Smith bending down to a knee in disappointment for your Eagles. Tried to immediately play it back over on a block. It was the serve from Davion Tanwin. Eagles will lose that one. Scores now 14-10. Vikings already have scored as many points as they scored in the last set, playing much better here in this second set. Ethan Burke sends it over, and a block there from number 24, Ryan Jones. He's been all over here tonight for this Viking squad.
And VSJ is not letting this one get away from them. They are.
Ryan Jones.
Keep this game.
Jones has been a big part for this team, trying to fight back in this second set, and that serve will go a little short there from the Vikings. Score will now be 15-11, Eagles. Burke now back to serve. Along the far side, you might get a chance to see Johnny Hutton warming up for your St. Edward Eagles. One of those key players for your Eagles varsity squad that you'll see later here tonight. And the point will now go to the Eagles. Score is 16-11. Once again, back to serve will be Ethan Burke for the Eagles. Johnny Hutton really does it all for that varsity squad. He'll dig from the back row, is a huge hitter. He serves well, and there's really just nothing that kid can't do. He can set for the Eagles when need be, and we'll see what he can do later here tonight for your St. Edward Eagles. Outside hit, Vlasic. That'll go deep from Brian Vlasic, who's looking for a tip. Vlasic was convinced that VASJ had tipped it, but referee not awarding that point to the Eagles. So score will be 16-12 Eagles.
Yeah, Brian Vlasic, he hit that a little bit too hard. You know, he's also a first-year player, so once he honed in on no type of thing, him and Braylon Adams will be an incredible duo for the future.
Vlasic, however, very impressive athlete for this St. Edward these St. Edward Eagles. Played on that JV basketball team as a freshman, so certainly will look to improve upon his basketball skills and his skills out here on the hardwood for this volleyball squad. Serve to come now from this Viking squad. Went up into the rafters. Now it was Brian Vlasic who was going to play a free ball over. Steven Rigler a little overzealous trying to play that ball over. And Coach Patty Thomas encouraging her players to talk it out. Communication out there on the court is key for the St. Edward Eagles squad. Now VASJ once again back to serve. And that serve will go off the flag, and that'll make the score now 17-14 Eagles. Eagles won the first set by a score of 25-10. Score 17-14 at the moment. Back to serve now, Andrew Smith. Smith now sends it over, and that will be wide there from number 55, Andrew Smith, as he'll check out of the game. Coming back in is the libero for the Eagles, Daniel Beck. Score 17-15 Eagles. VASJ looking to make a little run here. Let's see what they can do. Serve now to come from Peyton Ziegler. Ziegler sends it over now. And it'll be a free ball over by Vlasic. And now Ziegler tried to play it. Got in the way a little bit of Nathan Munford, who was trying to track that ball down for the Vikings. Score now will go to 18-15 Eagles. They'll try to close this set out, and it'll be Brian Vlasic back to serve. Vlasic will send one over, and it was a miscommunication for that VASJ squad. It looked like Ryan Jones was going to play it, but they wanted to get the setter, number 13, Jaden Hamilton, over there, but seemed as though he thought Jones was going to play it. Jones lets it go, and it'll be an Eagles point. Free ball over immediately by Munford in the back row, and that'll give VASJ the point.
VASJ has kept this within the three-point game most of the time, and they look to strengthen the comeback here.
Now back to serve is Ryan Jones, one of the stronger servers for this Viking squad. Now in this back row is Steven Rigler, and they'll send Vlasic forward to set. Vlasic will set outside Braylon Adams. Once again, just long there from Adams. 19-17, Eagles still in the lead. Adams thinking through that motion. It'll be once again Jones to serve for the Vikings. Ryan Jones, he'll send it over. Steven Rigler back row. Now Vlasic will try to play it up. Now back row hit from Rigler. He'll roll that one into the net. 19-18 Eagles. This one very close. Head coach for this JV squad, Patty Thomas, forced to take a timeout. Varsity head coach Neil Corrigan will also join in on this huddle. He'll listen in to his pupil, Patty Thomas. Just caught a glimpse of Eagles senior setter Mason Monette. He'll set from the front row likely later tonight. It'll likely be Zach Libertowski to set from the back row for the Eagles. Certainly interesting the way they use those rotations on that varsity squad. You'll see Monette go in that front row, so he'll do some tricky stuff there, setting in the front row, and then Libertowski, who will just be about as solid as it gets in the back row for the Eagles, has made some phenomenal digs throughout this season. One that stuck out to me was when the Eagles played St. Ignatius, and you just saw him dive, throw his whole body across the court to make a dig, and you're likely to see him make a similar play here tonight against this VASJ squad. Libertowski just always so active in the back row. Daniel Beck will play it. Now it's Vlasic outside Rigler. That'll be wide there from Steven Rigler. Score is 19-19 between the Eagles and the Vikings. We are all tied up here from the Eagles' nest. This one getting more and more interesting. Now once again, Jones back to serve. Ryan Jones, the lefty for this Viking squad. The 6'2 freshman will send it over. Now played back row Daniel Beck, and is played by Vlasic. Tried to get it back to Beck, but went over the head of Beck there. And score is now 20-19. VASJ with their first lead of the game. Once again, Jones now back to serve for the Vikings. Scores 20-19 Vikings. Jones, he'll send it over. Played by the Eagles, Burke. Played over by Owen Murtaugh. Now it'll be a ball over, and Owen Murtaugh in the front row for your St. Edward Eagles. Score is now 20-20. We're all tied up. Alonzo Ezel will come in to serve for the Eagles.
Yeah, great play there from Owen Murtaugh.
Once again, varsity to come after this JV action here on the Eagles Sports Network. Alonzo Ezel to serve for the Eagles. And sent over there by Ezel. And that a wayward ball there from Peyton Ziegler. And now Eagles will once again regain the lead. 21-20 Eagles. Ezel now back to serve. Back row is Ezel, Vlasic, and Beck. They'll float one over. Set there from the Vikings. They'll play it over. Big block from Owen Murtaugh. And Eagles will try to keep it up. And they were unable to do so. Braylon Adams hit into the net. And score is now 21-21. I'm Cody Wagner here alongside Aiden Buchanan on the Eagles Sports Network. Jaden Hamilton now back to serve for the Vikings. And now it'll be played by Brian Vlasic. Back row, Daniel Beck. He'll roll that over. That played there by VASJ. And it was a big play front row there from Dalen Brandon. DeLon Brandon there for that Viking squad makes the score now 22-21. They'll send a serve over now. Played back row, Daniel Beck. Now Vlasic outside. Burke and a big block. Brandon is having a heck of a game.
You can feel the energy coming from the VASJ bench and the players on the court, and they are feeling it right now.
Timeout, Eagles. An explosion there from VASJ. We are locked in a close battle here at the JV level between the Eagles and the Vikings. Eagles won the first set 25-10. Since then, the Vikings have stormed back here in the second set. Score is 23-21 Vikings at the moment. They'll try to put away this second set of action and send it to a third set. Eagles varsity squad waiting in the wings. Some of those varsity players sitting over on the bench. You can see Jacob Estevez, the middle hitter for the Eagles, you'll see later tonight.
Estevez had a great game, and the Eagles lost against St. Vincent St. Mary. I want to say he had 14 kills, 8 coming throughout the first set.
Estevez so impressive for the Eagles. We'll send that one over now. That was Burke for the Eagles. Scores now 23-22. VASJ still in the lead, but the Eagles clawing back here in the second set. Back to serve now is Daniel Beck. Back row is Ezel, Beck, and Vlasic. Now checking in the game is Andrew Smith. Checking out is Owen Murtaugh. And that one goes in the net from Daniel Beck. He'll put his hands on his face there, and it'll now be 24-22 VASJ.
And it seems as if it was a rushed serve there because of messed up substitution.
Vikings now back to serve. They'll float it over. Played by Beck. And now it'll be Vlasic. Adams will just float it over. And now middle. It was Brandon. And touching the net was Andrew Smith. And that'll give the set to that Viking squad. We're now tied up at one set apiece between the Eagles and the Vikings. We've got a 3-minute break here from the Eagles' nest between this second and third set. And with that, we will take a brief pause here on the Eagles Sports Network. Third set to come. Hello and a big welcome back to you here on the Eagles Sports Network. We've got your JV action here in the third set from the Eagles Nest. I'm Cody Wagner. I'll be joined by Aiden Buchanan in a moment. And front row for the Eagles will be Vlasic, Thomas, and number 24 for the Eagles, who is still yet to make an appearance in this game. That's Terrence May for the Eagles. In a moment, Daniel Beck's going to check in, I believe, for the Eagles, for Ian Williams in the back row. So back row will be Davion Tanwin, Daniel Beck, and Alonzo Ezel. Now Tanwin will send it over for the Eagles. That played back row by VASJ. Seems like they've gained a little momentum following that second set that they won by a score of 25-23. And now middle hit there from VASJ, and it was a double touch there from Joshua Thomas. Score is now 1-0 VASJ. Rather, 1-0 Eagles. It was VASJ, rather, that touched the net there. Serve now to come from Tanwin. And that one goes in the net there from Davion Tanwin. Disappointed with that result. Comforted there by teammate Joshua Thomas. And now we welcome Aiden Buchanan back into the booth. Score is 1-1 in the second set between the Eagles and the Vikings. Serve now sent over. Outside Vlasic. Daniel Beck now for the Eagles. Tanwin. Eagles missing that one. That was Terrence May for the Eagles.
And that's just a mental error right there, you know.
Score is now 2-1. VASJ leads. And it just feels like VASJ has gained so much momentum from that second set. For the Eagles, it seemed like they went with some more of the reserves in that second set to try to get some more of those JV players some playing time, but it may lead to their demise here in the third set. They're down 3-1 here early. Really allowed VASJ to gain a lot of momentum headed into this third set. Now back row is Adams, Beck, and Ezel. Front row looks like Thomas, May, and Vlasic. Now serve goes back to Beck and played by Vlasic, now played by May, immediately played back over by VASJ. Front row set for the Vikings, and being led too close to the net was number 11 for the Vikings. That's Peyton Ziegler. Score will now be 2-3. Now coming into the game is Ethan Burke. Burke will go back to serve for the Eagles. Also into the game is Braylon Adams for your St. Edward Eagles. Ethan Burke, he'll send it over, and that one goes into the net for the Eagles. Score is now 4-2 Vikings. And now Daniel Beck plays it for the Eagles. Vlasic now back row Burke. And that played up by this Viking squad. They'll now play it free over. Now it's Vlasic outside Adams. Adams will roll that one into the net. Scores now 5-2 VASJ. They're rolling here in the third set. Joshua Thomas trying to get his team motivated here in this third set.
Yeah, Joshua Thomas has to be a leader here. Being one of the older players on the squad, they'll need his leadership right here in this moment.
Back to serve now. DeLon Brandon for this Viking squad. Score is 5-2 Vikings here. And action now to continue here from the Eagles Nest. Brandon will send it over. Now it's Beck back row for the Eagles. Vlasic set to Adams. A big hit there from Braylon Adams. And now trying to play it over. It seemed like it was going to go to DeLon Brandon, but it went up into the rafters and fell quickly back down, and it'll be Eagles point. Back to serve now, Joshua Thomas, the leader for this Eagles squad. He'll try to get a couple points on his serve right here. And now it's Ian Williams front row, now set from Vlasic. Outside hit Braylon Adams. That'll go just wide there from Adams. Score is now 6-3 Vikings. Vikings have jumped out to an early lead here in the third set. They were down early in that second set against the Eagles, came back and ultimately went on to win the set. What a comeback it's been for this Vikings squad. Lost the first set by a score of 25-10. They'll try to complete the comeback here in the third set against your St. Edward Eagles. Score 6-3 Vikings. Rolled over there by Braylon Adams. Had a lot of topspin on that. Rolls it just over the blocking arms, and just before the back row player for the Viking squad can get to that one. Score is now 4-6. Vikings still in the lead. Checking in for Adams now is Davion Tanwin. Tanwin will be the setter for the Eagles. He's also in the back row alongside Burke and Beck. That goes off the hands of Nathan Munford for the Vikings. Score is now 5-6. Eagles will now try to tie it up on this serve from Tanwin. Serve now from Davion Tanwin. He'll send it over for the Eagles. Such an exciting time of the year for spring sports. Played by Tanwin, outside for the Eagles. And now Eagles will tie this one up at 6. Eagles won their first baseball game of the season the other night. Lacrosse, it was a disappointing performance against St. Ignatius last night. Lost that one by a score of 15-4.
14-4, I believe.
14-4, my apologies. And Lacrosse will look to rebound next time they get out there. For this volleyball squad, they've been underway to a record of 1-5 so far. And tomorrow night it'll be the Eagles tennis squad who gets underway in these spring sports. So a very exciting time for the Eagles in terms of spring sports. It'll be a lot of action coming your way on the Eagles Sports Network, trying to get this sorted out. Seems to be a discrepancy here. Score will now be 5-6 VASJ, it appears. Now Coach Thomas trying to figure this out for the Eagles. Trying to make sure her rotation is in line here. Dom Florio at the scores table here from the Eagles Nest. He's one of those players on that lacrosse team for the Eagles.
Yeah, one of the, I don't want to say veteran because he's a younger guy, but he's been a varsity for, 2 to 3 years now? So
Yep.
One of the veteran players for the varsity Eagles.
Also was the holder for the Eagles state championship squad for football this season.
Sitting next to another key contributor for the football season, Grady Lentz-Pfeiffer.
Florio and Lentz-Pfeiffer over at that scores table trying to get this one sorted out here. Scoreboard now reads 7-5 Vikings. We'll see if that's what they determine. Referees will now talk it over. And we'll get the final ruling here in a moment. They'll go talk with Coach Patty Thomas. And it'll be a sub in here. Braylon Adams coming into the game. Davion Tanwin checking out. 7-5 Vikings. Score for a moment went to 6-6. But now the Vikings have a 2-point lead here. Back to serve now for the Vikings is Peyton Ziegler. Ziegler sends it over here. Back row from the Eagles is Burke. Vlasic outside. Adams. That play back row from the Vikings. Now a big hit in the middle there from Jones for the Vikings. Score is now 8-5 Vikings.
Yeah, Braylon Adams has. Excuse me, everyone. Braylon Adams has to get close to the net there. He just leaves too much room for error.
Vikings have had a good third set here from the Eagles Nest. That serve goes short now from Ziegler. Score is now 6-8. Eagles still working out of this deficit. Lonzo Ezel now back to serve for the Eagles. Ezel, he'll float one over for the Eagles. Set there. Now Jones hit that one coming on his way down. Still was able to get it over. Played by Vlasic. It was a free ball over for the Eagles. VASJ will try to play that one over as a free, but was unable to get it over. And score will now be 7-8. Eagles down by 1. Ezel now back to serve for the Eagles. Back row is Beck, Ezel, and Vlasic. Front row is Adams, Williams, and Ethan Burke. And unable to handle that one in the back row was Munford for the Vikings. Score is now 8-8 between the Eagles and Vikings. Back to serve now once again is Ezel for the Eagles. Eagles trying to find their groove here in the third set. They've had a tough go of it here early in the set. Now Ezel, he's rattled off 3 in a row for the Eagles. Score is 9-8. Eagles in the lead. We're here in the third set between the Eagles and the Vikings. I'm Cody Wagner alongside Aiden Buchanan on the Eagles Sports Network. Sending it over is Ezel. That played back row by Munford. Free ball over. Now played by Williams. And touching the net were the Vikings. And score will now be 10-8 Eagles. Back to serve is Ezel. Eagles up by 2. He sends it over now. Set from Hamilton. And now Jones sends that one into the net. Vikings appear a little frazzled here. Eagles now go up by 3. Score is 11-8 here in the third set between the Eagles and the Vikings at this JV level. Varsity still next to come. And that played back row by Munford. And unable to corral was Peyton Ziegler. Was sent all the way back near the stage. And timeout VASJ. Eagles in the lead here, up 12-8. Aiden, how do you feel about this performance in the third set so far from the Eagles? We're down early, have recovered since, now up by 4.
Yeah, I believe they're starting to get rid of the mechanical errors, mental errors from the Eagles. So as they work on those things, they're getting themselves back to this game. They have built up a pretty decent lead so far.
And it seems like partially what might have been the problem, some of those starters for the Eagles were out in that second set, so blood not quite warm, just sitting on the bench. They've got to get back into it, and it seems like that's what it's been here for the Eagles, kind of getting back in the groove of things here in this third set.
Yeah, as they get back into the groove of things, warm them arms back up, warm the legs back up. They'll pull away with this one, I hope.
Ezel now back to serve for the Eagles. He's done a heck of a job serving thus far in this one for the Eagles. In for the Eagles is Brian Vlasic, Daniel Beck, Ethan Burke, Braylon Adams, and Ian Williams. Alonzo Ezel to serve. He'll float it over, and that played off the hands of Jones. Score is now 13-8, Eagles.
And miscommunication from the Vikings. 2 players tumble over each other chasing for the ball. Great hustle, but, have to communicate those things out. And if I'm not mistaken, is this third set, are they going to 15 or 25?
I believe they will go to 25 in the third set for this JV action. Of course, in varsity, if it does reach a 5th set, it does go to 15 points rather than 25. And now trying to dump that one over was Jaden Hamilton. That one goes in the net. Score is now 14-8 Eagles. Now Alonzo Ezel back to serve for the Eagles. And that one will clip the net. Played over to the Eagle side. Now Vlasic outside. Burke. And Ethan Burke will get the kill there for the Eagles. Score is now 15-8. And Eagles begin to run away with it here in this third set. 15-8 Eagles. They're up by 7 at the moment. Serve to come from Alonzo Ezel. He's got 6 aces in this one. That serve sent over there by Ezel. It'll be a back row hit there from Jones. Now back outside, Burke. Burke will float it over for the Eagles. Miscommunication. It looked like Ian Williams was going to go after it. Late recognition, it was Daniel Beck who realized he had to dive after it. Now recognizing he had to go to that pancake to try to get that one out. Score is now 15-9, Eagles still in the lead. Jones now back to serve. And that one will go short there from Jones. Score is now 16-9, Eagles. Bringing you this action here on the Eagles Sports Network. I'm Cody Wagner here alongside Aiden Buchanan. More than excited to bring you this action from the Eagles' nest. It's Daniel Beck now back to serve for the Eagles. Back row is Beck, Ezel, and Vlasic. Daniel Beck, he'll float one over for the Eagles. Now played front row, number 13, Jaden Hamilton. That set was outside for Vikings. Now it's played over by Braylon Adams. Now it'll be a free ball over, and it was a lift on DeLon Brandon for that Viking squad. And so with that lift there from Brandon, Eagles will go up by 8. Score is 17-9, Eagles. Daniel Beck, he'll float one over, and miscommunication. It looked like Wagner was going to take it. Munford didn't realize Wagner had allowed him to take it, and so Eagles will go up by 9. 18-9 is the score here in the third set. Eagles have really found their groove, and just as I said, that serve from Daniel Beck goes into the net. Now back to serve is Hamilton for the Vikings. Jaden Hamilton, he'll send it over. Now played back row by Daniel Beck. Brian Vlasic outside Adams. Big hit from Braylon Adams, and a kill there for Adams. Scores 19-10 Eagles.
And as these starters are warmed up, they're back into the game. They're back in their groove, and they're looking to run away with it.
Davion Tanwin now back to serve for the Eagles. We'll see if he can close this one out. Score is 19-10 Eagles. Tanwin, he'll send it over, and trying to play it over was Hamilton. And he'll get some words of encouragement from DeLon Brandon. And timeout now taken by VASJ. That's their second of the set. No timeouts left to go. Eagles up by 10 here in the third set. With that timeout, we'll take a brief 30-second pause on the Eagles Sports Network. Hello and welcome back in on the Eagles Sports Network. I'm Cody Wagner here alongside Aiden Buchanan. We're here in the third set. Battle between the Vikings and the Eagles. Score is 20-10 here between these JV squads. Varsity next to come after this match. Back to serve now is Davion Tanwin. And Tanwin, that serve will go wide from him. Score is now 20-11. VASJ will go back to serve. It'll be Shane Vagnek. Vagnek, he'll send it over. Now Eagles will play it back row. Now played over by the Eagles. And now Brandon will send that one into the net for that VASJ squad. DeLon Brandon unable to get that one in. Score will be 21-11 Eagles. Now back to serve is Burke for the Eagles. Ethan Burke sent the serve over, and that one will hit the flag there.
And as VAS, they started off strong in the third set, it has not rolled with them so far.
They were up 5-2 at one point early in the set. Eagles now dominating here 22-11. And it's just kind of been miscommunication. Guys scrambling all over for that Viking squad. It's almost 2 guys at every ball. It's really not allowed them to set up big hits in the front row. And it's been to their demise here in the third set. Eagles up 23-11. That serve coming over from Burke. And Eagles will now go up 24-11 off that hit into the net from Nathan Mumford. 24-11. Burke's got a chance to put this one away here for the Eagles.
Yeah, match point here for the Eagles.
And that one goes just deep there from Ethan Burke. They'll have to get it now off the serve from VASJ. It'll be DeLon Brandon back to serve for this Viking squad. Ryan Jones checking back in now for the Vikings. He's been one of their stronger players in this one. Brandon will send one over. Now played by Tan Nguyen. Now Thomas from the back row. Just not enough. Topspin on that one from Joshua Thomas. Score is 24-13 Eagles. Eagles still hold a big lead here. And that play by Daniel Beck. Now Tan Nguyen. Now Joshua Thomas somehow got that one over. Now Daniel Beck set from Vlasic. Middle hit from Joshua Thomas. And now played by Vlasic. What a point here between the Eagles and the Vikings. Played over by Davion Tan Nguyen, who wins it for the Eagles. Score 25-13 in the third set. Your Eagles are winners here at the JV level.
Yeah, that was a great way to put the game away there.
And with that, that's all we've got for JV action. Varsity come later here tonight, about 30 minutes from now. I'm Cody Wagner here alongside Aiden Buchanan. So long from the Eagles Sports Network. Varsity next to come.